Meta ads is changing at a rapid pace. So here's what you need to do to make sure that you're not left behind. Hi there, my name's Ricky Hayes and welcome to today's video on Meta ads is changing and what you need to do step by step. Now I have a Google Doc which I will be going through in today's video. If you comment the word Meta in the comment section down below, I will send you that as well as you like today's video. And if I get 25 likes in today's video, I will give someone a free 30-minute call. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. All right, so I'm just in my Google Doc, and as I said, comment the word Meta down below and I will send you this and you can use it as you see fit. I've just put this together and then I just use ChatGPT to make it all look nice. So there is a number of things we need to be aware of. Gen Z is changing, right? And I've always said that the target demographic that you want to target for e-commerce is 18 to 44-year-olds, and especially 25 to 34. And they're sort of becoming the new Gen Z, and so it is really important that we look into that and project the future, right? So a lot of people, well, I've had videos that I've been releasing that Meta is now making it so you don't even need to leave the Meta app so that you can do purchases. They don't want to even go to the website. They want to do less and use voice control. What does that mean for us as advertisers? Well, it means that there's going to be a number of things that change that we just need to be aware of, right? So Gen Z doesn't want to click the ad. They want to do research. They'll use tools like ChatGPT, Google, YouTube, influencers to know about your brand. Very, very important that you understand that as well. They don't like ads as much. They will always prefer Google, YouTube, Trustpilot and so forth, right? They will return later to buy. So remember, it always usually takes 7 touch points of remarketing before you get someone through the door. Okay, most people don't buy spontaneously. That's why when building a brand, the hardest part is the initial startup. Once you have that, it only gets easier and easier as you scale, right? Your meta ads will look less profitable, right? So it's really important that you understand that they will look less profitable. And that can be, but when you look at the bigger picture outside of Meta, just remember it's just driving traffic. And as long as you can control it, then you will be profitable. And there's plenty of ways I'm going to teach you how to do that. All right, so you need to change your attribution model. So I'm really leaning into using incremental attribution. One could say standard attribution, 7-day click, and incremental are much the same. I prefer incremental. I think Facebook's going to make that the new standard in the coming years because Facebook is pushing a lot for lifetime, and incremental very strongly aligns with that, right? So if there's no click, there will be no conversion track. But again, incremental attribution, they're using a lot of AI technology. You will see that this will actually improve. I'm using a number of third-party apps that help with tracking. And once I've gotten one that I quite like, I'll be talking more about that as well. So what you can also do is, as I said, I just wanted to add some steps so you can edit the attribution. And then as well as that, you can make sure that you're also doing under here as well, your attribution settings where you're looking at 7-day and 28-day. I actually don't look at 1 day much now. I just want to look at, so what you'll see is you'll see a longer term view of the buyer purchase journey, right? So you just turn those on and make sure you have incremental attribution. Step number 3 is set up Meta Conversions API. Now, if you're using Shopify, this will be pretty much set up for you, so you don't need to worry about this. Trackline, offline conversions, delayed conversions, and non-clicks, and it can bridge the gaps between server data and metadata. As I said, you can use third-party tools for this, which do help boost the overall revenue and attribution you see in your ads manager by probably 20-40%, but I'm still in the early days of testing that before I get back to you on that, right? So mostly if you're using Shopify, this will mostly set up, but if you're not sure how to do it, you can just get someone off Upwork. I also have someone that if you want to send me an email, I can recommend him. His name's Asad. He's fantastic. 2-3 hours work and he'll help make sure that everything in your pixel is really well set up because it can be a bit technical. But as I said, with Shopify and using these third-party apps, most of this is fixed. If you're using other platforms, it can be a bit more confusing, but with Shopify, it's actually really quite easy, right? So step 4 is leverage creators and influencers in your ads, right? So this is so important, and this is one of the things that is going to allow me to grow my brand, my pajama brand, as I've properly scaled that. As I said, just waiting on the samples. Gen Z influencers are just the go-to. If you think of it, Instagram and for e-commerce is pretty much the king when it comes to that. TikTok has a lot too, but it's more for trending products. But you'll find that a lot of brands, it's still actually mostly Instagram, right? More established brands, it's really Instagram is where it sort of sits. That because the buyer demographic are women, usually 18 to 44, and so that's where they sort of reside a lot of their time, right? They actively seek third-party validation. So from an influencer, then they'll do their research. My wife literally does the exact same thing. And then you want to creator generated ads. So, an influencer, if you can get a partnership with an influencer, that is 100 times better than AI UGC. AI UGC I plan to use, and I do use, and I see a lot of people using it these days. However, creator-led ads will always be better because it is authentic, right? They have to approve your access. You have to then add it in, set it up. So it is something that no one can steal from you. So very unique ads that no one can steal from you. And it's going. Usually, you see a 2x ROI. I'm testing it on a new on one of my ad accounts, and I'll be updating you on that as well. I've tested it in Debutify, just doing it myself, just for testing purposes, and it did quite well. It didn't take me that long, and it's done quite well. I'm going to be testing it for e-commerce, and I'm 99% sure that it's only going to get bigger and bigger because now with AI UGC, what we're seeing now is we're going to see a big shift of trust, even more so, where people will be even more so not sure if something is real. I think what we're going to see a lot as well is we're going to see ads are going to have requirements if this is AI or not as well when you publish the ad, right? Because there is just so much out there, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be using it in a very misleading way. So I think there's going to be a lot of compliance there. And this is a fantastic way that this is automatically compliant. You're working with an influencer with an engaged audience. Their audience loves that person. They see your ad. They're just like, well, this person is literally endorsing them through paid ads. They're going to, be 10 times more likely to buy. So it's just a fantastic, fantastic strategy. And the best part is you can use it for cold and remarketing. So it's not limited to specific types of campaigns. You can use it for both, right? So, whatever the types of video, testimonial, unboxing, whatever sort of fits your niche, try and work with that influencer on that. A testimonial one works extremely, extremely well. I've done many times before, but historically you just upload them this way. You actually just pull from their account, which is even better because it can't be made up. People can click their profile, so it's phenomenal. So you should be 100% on partnership ads. I think that is 100% the future, even more so than AI UGC. Number 5 is you want to build and showcase social proof, right? So, buyers, they want to check reviews. They go on Google My Business, they go Trustpilot, they go Amazon, review apps like Debutify Reviews, Judge Me, Looks, Yotpo, whatever. They have a look at video reviews, which are also in a lot of these apps. So make sure your app has it enabled so that you can get video and image reviews as well. Make a massive, massive, massive difference. So what you, as I said, should do is in your landing pages, product pages, in your emails, in your ads, and your social media as much as possible, right? Have it everywhere. The more you can get, the better, especially on social media. When people start tagging you and saying, I love this product, that's amazing social proof. What my team do is reach out to those people and say, hey, look, would love to, because they have an Instagram account, I would love to do a partnership ad with you. I'll give you a free product. They'll do it. Boom, away you go. Those people are devoted ones. And a number of them have very small followers because, usually they're not an influencer. They just have a small following. They're usually very passionate about something. Those people are phenomenal to work with. So just make sure you keep that in mind. And that's where, like, as I said, encourage that. Like, the partnership portal is where I'm 100% putting all my eggs into that. It is cheaper than AI UGC. It is easier. It is 100% unique. No one can steal it from you, right? No one, right? So that's the power of this. I think that's going to be a real game changer. Now, when it comes to this monitor, estimate, and adjust for underreporting, expect that. It's never going to be perfect, right? No matter what tool you use, like that you use for attribution, like WeTrack, for example, whatever, you want to benchmark manually. I just do manual, right? I do omni-channel marketing. So for me, I more look at the bigger picture. I actually, if I'm honest, use a lot more Google Analytics. Google Analytics allows me to see sales from nearly any channel, right? Where they come from, right? And that's the power of it. One place to really see the high level. And you'll find the big brands more focus on that. And that Facebook and Google, obviously you optimize that to make them better. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be focused entirely that, that runs your entire business. It actually should be Google Analytics, right? So you'll always see a discrepancy between that, because there's always going to be people that come back and buy. There's just going to be always an inconsistency there. As I said, you can use tracking apps, but Google Analytics, right? If you want stuff on Google Analytics, let me know. But Google Analytics is extremely undervalued. As you scale your brand, you use Google Analytics, you'll find that your entire perspective changes, right? So you want to use an omni-channel approach, and you want to use an adjusted ROAS, right? So I simply factor in lifetime value, right? So everyone looks at, you get a purchase and the average order value is $50, right? Which is fantastic, right? But what you actually, as you build your brand, want to factor in more is your lifetime value, right? So you've got your average order value, which is great, but actually what you want to look at is your lifetime value. And if your lifetime value should be higher, let's say it's $77, that means instead of $50 focusing as your average order value, break even, cost per purchase, ROAS, or cost per purchase, you have $77 to break even long term, right? So as you get that data, you can actually use it to your advantage, where the more that you can increase your lifetime value of your customers, the more you can spend on a new customer and know that you're actually profitable, right? That is the real key of scaling an e-commerce brand, right? And I even try and go to the extent of, you got your lifetime value, but then if you can factor in all your other external expenses, taxes, logistics, team cost, and you can actually get, your ideal cost per purchase, factoring in all of that, then you're 100% in the right path. So it's all about really planning ahead for that, working with like your accountant, bookkeeper, finance individual to really sort of help stay ahead of that, because the more that you can spend on a cost per purchase to acquire a customer, the more you're going to win. And not many people go to this extent, right? So very important that you do that. And AI-driven purchase decisions are only going to get larger and larger. LLMs are literally the new standard now. We're in the new web age. I use ChatGPT to help me optimize this, because why not? I made it and then I'm like, polish it up, and it did it in like 1 minute, saved me like 20 minutes work, right? Using ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and all the other ones that are coming out, they're going to ask about that, right? So they're going to ask about your brand, and that's just how it is nowadays. And so really important that you get positive mentions across the web, that you are searchable, you have a strong SEO, search engine optimization, review volume, creator content, but also understand there's a new type of SEO, search everywhere optimization, which is basically being integrated into LLMs. So using tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Mentions.io have functionality where they're designed to make sure in the various large popular LLMs that you are showing as an SEO, right? And you want to be in there as well. So you want SEO on Google, but you also want SEO in LLMs. So now it's not just SEO in Google, it's LLMs, right? So just keep that in mind. And as these LLMs make all these AI browsers, and we're going to see more and more big focus on AI browsers, that we're going to see that the two SEOs are going to mesh even more and more. So, but it's very important that you focus on that LLM. I think that the LLM side of it, SEO, is going to become more important. So I just wanted to sort of say a bit about that and talk about that, what is changing. As I said, this doc will be linked down below. If you comment the word meta, I would always appreciate a like. If you did like today's video, be sure to subscribe for more content. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time today. Have a lovely day. Take care and goodbye.